Hello.
Hi there! Hi everybody, welcome to my channel, Sarah Kuro Interviews. Today I have someone who is so precious to me, so fascinating, so incredible. John Jackson. Hi John, how you going?
Hi, how are you, Sarah?
Yeah, going great. Thank you very
Yeah.
much for being with me on a lunch break. So how long do
Yeah.
we have? We've only got about 20 minutes or something, don't we?
25, 30 minutes, yeah.
All right. Now, there's a couple of reasons, well, there's 25 reasons that I would want to interview you. You are one of the most fascinating people to me. I don't know how you could have lived a life that you had with so much variety. So let's start from the beginning. Hey, why don't you talk a little bit so we can see where you're from?
Okay, so I had a very, like you said, I have a very, very vast career. I started out very young dancing. I was in two dance troupes, a modern dance troupe and a jazz ensemble in San Francisco. So that gives you an idea of where I'm. Unfortunately, I gave it away.
Oh, yes. So I didn't even know it started there. Your life is interesting to me because you used to be in the US Navy. And for me, meeting you recently, imagining you in the Navy was quite a shock to my system, actually. So, what drew you to that, first of all?
Well, going into the military, it was for me a drastic and necessary situation that I had to do because growing up as a young gay boy, my father, who's very religious when it suits him, we didn't get along at all. And it got so volatile that my dad nearly drove me to suicide.
Mm.
So joining the military was one of the most immediate outs that I could remove myself from that volatile situation. And it really suited me. I I always had a very disciplined mind. I think I needed that because for me, when I was really young, I had a slight learning disability. And not many people know this.
I don't.
And
Well, the whole
I
world
was,
knows it now. The
yeah,
whole
and
world knows, John.
I was teased very heavily by it.
Mm.
And so I had to create my own way of learning. And my parents don't even know this, not many family, because I held it so tightly and I learned how to hide it. And I learned how to I learned very quickly how to master to get past my learning disability at the early beginnings. And it was switching something in my head to go really organized. The more organized and the more organized I am and the more disciplined I am, the more I'm able to adapt and learn.
And the less chaotic you would feel because
Exactly.
as you know, I have a son with a few learning difficulties. He has ADHD, and the more organized we are together, the less chaotic his life is. So that's really
Yes.
important. But the military to me is something so structured, so rigid, so hierarchical that it for me it's like this perfect balance of your personality because you've got this incredible creative side as well. And
Yes.
that's why we're here today. We're talking about
Yes.
how creative a person can be who actually has also been in the US Navy. So that's
Yes.
quite incredible to me. Now, behind me is this beautiful, amazing, unbelievable Christmas wreath. Now, I don't know
Yes.
anyone else who hand makes these, but you, John Jackson, make these, and they are
Yes.
going into a shop called Clementine's. No one can see
Yes.
that card. Clementine's, which is a shop in Melbourne, but that doesn't matter yet. What I want to know is how can you make this stuff? Have you made any other stuff? Do you make clothes? I know that you make masks. I've got lots here to show people later. But what got you
Yes.
into that? What at what stage of your life did you do drag? Were you a drag artist? Did you make your own costumes? That kind of thing.
I never made my own costumes. I have been very artistic. Like I said earlier, I was a dancer, so the art of movement, the creative aspect of all of that, that drove me. When I was a child, I always decorated the house with store-bought things. So for me, and I also have a semi-photographic memory. So I can see something in a shop and then I can go home and replicate it nearly.
Mm. That's amazing. But the actual skill of creative of sewing or
Yes.
pattern cutting, I mean, did you learn that formally or are you just
I learned that from my mother-in-law. So Russo, who is my partner of 29 years, we just celebrated our 29th anniversary. Um, Love of my life. And his mother, the way that she and I bonded, she sewed all of her clothing,
wow.
and she taught me how to sew, which in turn I've made 4 business shirts, a Vogue pencil skirt, multiple pillow cushions, your mask, and then I got into a point where I was collecting all of these like really old derelict Christmas trees and going to thrift stores and buying all these loose Christmas decorations and deconstructing them. I love to deconstruct things and then put it together uniquely, like I have done with my Christmas tree. And I try to do it so that there's very little wastage. I try to recycle as much as possible to save the landfill, to save the earth, kind of.
Oh, I'm so glad you're doing that. You know, I've seen so many shows. There's a great show on Netflix at the moment called Broken, and each episode is about a different aspect of globalization and mass production that's just destroying the planet, big business, and so on. So the message I want out of this interview today for everybody to take away is if you're in London right now, don't buy John's wreath. See who's around you making wreaths. You know, see who is close in your circle who makes clothes, pillowcases, scarves, shirts. Support those people closest to you. Don't go to Walmart or Kmart or Target and buy your Christmas presents. There's got to be someone near you who's making handmade Christmas cards. I have a student making handmade Christmas cards. We really need this message now. So, John, thank you so much for this wreath. I want to show everyone up close now. But as I'm getting my third Zoom camera ready, I want everyone to know your you told me a story once about a nightclub in LA once. So you grew up in LA, is that right?
Yes,
You were in San
yes.
Francisco. You grew up in
San
LA.
Francisco. No,
So
I grew up in Los Angeles, but I lived in San Francisco.
okay, so did you see any famous people? You know the story I want to tell. Go.
You want the George Michael
I
story?
do want the George Michael story. Please.
Yes. So there was a really famous um, nightclub called Peanuts in the West Hollywood, and there was this really famous drag queen called Michelangelo, who, when he performed, stars everywhere, celebrities, head of state, they would come if they were in town. They would come and watch his show, and I think George Michael was trying to get to his show to see it, but he arrived late. So the show had already finished like maybe 15 minutes. And then all of a sudden there was this huge rush in the nightclub. And everyone started rushing to the front door. And all the rumors were like, George Michael's is outside. It's like, George Michael's here. And I'm like, everyone's like, oh my God. And so I was with my friend, and we were standing in the very back of the club, and we avoided the rush at the door. And as George Michael and his posse walked through the front door, all of the crowd like opened up like the Red Sea, and they made this beeline right to us. And he walked right past me and my friend Joe. And I looked at him and I winked at him, and he winked back. And I'm like, oh my God, I just got a wink from George Michael. And then I'll make this very short. He got comfortable in one spot of the bar, and then he let his posse loose so they can enjoy themselves. And then I noticed that he was all by himself, except for this little person that he had brought in from the strip. that I'm not going to defame or say anything about. But this person went away from him, and he was left by himself. So everyone in the nightclub that gawked at him, that rushed the front door, they were standing at a distance gawking at him. And poor George Michael was just there by himself. So I said to my friend, Joe, I'm going to go over and I'm going to introduce myself to George Michael. And he said, you can't do that. He's a star. And I said, so? All he can do is say, thank you, goodbye. So I went up to him and I said, hello, my name is John Jackson. He says, hi, I'm George. I said, duh. And he laughed. And I said, see, I knew I can make you laugh. I bet my friend I can make you laugh. And then I said, would you like to dance? And he said, sure. So I walked past my friend with George Michael holding my hand. I walked right past him. We went onto the dance floor and we started dancing. And then I thought to myself, I'm never going to have this chance again, ever. So I just grabbed George Michael really by the hand and I pulled him really close to me and we just started dancing like the cha-cha romantic dance.
Oh my God. Well, I know how good that feels because when we have our lovely parties together, you grabbed me once close and held me tight and danced and sung me the whole song. I mean, it was about 5 a.m. and it was just a beautiful experience. So George Michael, rest his beautiful soul. I think he's probably very grateful for that night, John. So just before we wrap this up, I just want to make sure that everyone understands what an incredible person you are. US Navy, grew up in LA, Dirty Dance with George Michael, moved to Australia because of the love of your life. Now that's a big move, an American to come to Australia. Some people would say Australia is not as exciting as America, but just quickly, what's your impression of Australia after 30 years?
I still love Australia. I am in awe of Australia. I've never once complained, even 30 years ago or 29 years ago when I came here. And I think Russ, my partner, he was so embarrassed because we only had five television channels. And he says, I'm sorry for the variety, but we have very little. I never once complained. I just love this country. I really do. And I'm a dual citizen. I now classify myself as an Aussiecan. And yes, I really see myself pretty much living the rest of my life here. And
that's beautiful.
America being my second home. I've lived here longer than I have in America.
Yeah. I can't imagine you being at home in many places because you're all about people and connections. And that's just what I love about you so much. So I want to show everybody this unbelievable, two of me, reverse screen, techie. Okay. So the most amazing thing about this, well, the second most amazing thing, let's switch it on first. Oh,
Aww.
how pretty is that? Now the detail in this is unbelievable. I discovered 3 birdies here. So here's a little birdie. Here's another little birdie and drag queen / disco birdie hiding right up here. You see it? He's got a sequins frock on or a glitter frock. Oh, there's my bedroom. So, look, that's just the most beautiful wreath. You hand make them. They're a shop in Melbourne in De Grave Street called Clementine's has decided to stock them. So if you're in Melbourne, the Melbourne area, get in touch with Clementine's, clementines.com.au, and Clementine sells only Victorian-made products. They do have an online shop as well. This is really important for us locals here to support local, and if you're anywhere else in the world, support your local thing. You know, that's the message we want to get out. Not everyone has to buy John Jackson's wreath. You can't make enough to supply the world. I'm sorry.
No.
Not even
No, I
not
can't.
even you.
No.
Not even you. So that's
Right.
that. And you've probably got to go back to work.
Right.
But
And I am in the process of creating an Instagram account where I will have a viewing of all of the wreaths that I have made. Some of them have sold, and they are unique. I can't replicate any of them. Once one is created, I can try and make something similar to it, but they're never ever alike.
Yeah, that's what we
So
want. We want
so
special
now,
handmade one-offs. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
and Sarah has one, and I'll show you another.
Oh, yes. Show the one you've got there in the office. What's your day job there? Why does it look so medical there?
I am a phlebotomist with Dorovich pathology.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
See, you can do
So,
anything.
all right. So this,
Oh,
and I love the little birdie.
oh, the birds are gorgeous. That's just
And so all
divine.
of the wreath itself is, like I said, is made from a an old Christmas tree that was deconstructed,
Mhm.
and everything from the wreath itself, I've handmade the wreath. So it's created from the actual stems left over from the Christmas ornaments that have the tree branches. So once I deconstruct all of those, I use the actual stem itself to create the diameter of my wreath. And then from the deconstructed ferns from the Christmas tree, I overlay them across the diameter of the circle to create my wreath. And then
Oh.
I decorate everything.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous. So look, overall, thank you. Um, I wish we had more time. We could talk about your years at Mardi Gras,
Yes.
all the shows you've been in, and all the other famous people you've met. But I know you have to go back to work. So thank you so much for bringing such joy and recycling and great ideas to our world. Thank you so much
Thank you. It was
for
my pleasure.
being in my life. I just love you, John Jackson.
I love you more.
Bye.
Bye.